Alright, so we're going to start applications of law, sines, and cosines. So, first problem. Here we go. Okay, it says two people look up into the sky and see Superman flying. Person A saw Superman at an angle of elevation of 65 degrees. I'm going to draw this picture as we read. So, I'm going to draw this angle right here. Whoops. Try not to move the whole problem. Alright, so right here, person A looks up to Superman, and an angle of elevation is measured from this horizontal line. Okay, that line's not very straight, but it's okay. And so this angle right here is what, 65 degrees. Person B sees Superman at an angle of elevation of 80 degrees. So when I draw that angle up to Superman, this angle is 80 degrees. So if two people are standing 30 feet from each other, what does that 30 feet go? Where's that distance? So this is 30. So first of all, I want to compute the distance from each person to Superman. So I want to find, if this is AB, I'm going to label this C, and then label this side B and side A. So I'm looking for side B and side A. Now, you have to decide which one of the laws you need to use. Law of sines or law of cosines. Which one could you use on this one? Law of sines. How can you use the law of sines if I don't have a pair? Is there any way you can get a pair? Yep, I can just take 65 and 80 and subtract them from 180. So when I do that, tell me what that angle is going to be right up here.
35.
What's it going to be?
35.
35 degrees. Alright, so now I can set this up. This is a pair that I have. And so let's find, it doesn't matter which side we find first. I'm going to find side A first. So I'm going to set up 30 over the sine of 35 equals A over the sine of 65. And then cross multiply and solve. So 30 sine 65 equals A sine 35. And I'm just going to type this in the calculator and solve. Alright, so 30 sine 65 divided by 30, or sine 35. Alright, so what should I get for side A?
47.4.
So 47.4, and this is going to be in what unit? Feet. Alright, to find side B, I'm going to set up the same law of sines. I'm going to use the 30 over sine 35. Why do I use the 30 over the sine 35? Because it's the original and I didn't round that any of those values. And so then B over sine 80. So go ahead and find that right quick and tell me what you get. So you're going to solve it the same way, cross multiply. Tell me what you get for that side. Good. You should get 51.5 feet. And just type that in the calculator the same way. Alright, questions on how to find that? That should be pretty easy, yes? How do I know when to use law of sines? Because I was given a pair. Or I can find a pair. I can easily find a pair. If I can't find a pair, that means I need to use law of cosines. Do what? I'll come back to it. Hang on. Alright, so now I need to find part B. So Superman's height off the ground. So Superman's height off the ground right here is going to be this distance. Now, so on your test, on your final exam, they're going to combine law of cosines and right triangle trig, okay? And you need to know when you can use right triangle trig and when you can use law of sines and cosines, okay? I'm going to try to find this distance right here. And since I drop that line down and it makes a right angle with the ground, to find x, can I use SOHCAHTOA or my right triangle stuff? Yes. Okay? And so the way that I'm going to do that is I can do it a whole bunch of different ways. I'm going to go ahead and use this angle right here. So if I'm using angle 65 and I have 51.5, what side is that of the triangle? That's the hypotenuse, right? Because it's across from the right angle right here. So this is the hypotenuse of this little triangle we made in here. Now, this angle, or this side right here, is going to be what with respect to 65? It's going to be the opposite. So if I've got the hypotenuse and the opposite, what does that tell me I can use? Some old hippie, which is sine. So sine of 65 is going to equal the opposite. So that's x over hypotenuse, which is 51.5. And so then 51.5, if you rounded that decimal, whenever you did that, you should probably store that for x. I'm going to go find that 51.5 and store it. So 30, we did 30 sine 80 to do that. And then divided it by sine 35. Alright, so I'm going to take that value and store it for x. And so then when I solve this one, all I'm going to do is say x times sine of 65. Does that make sense? X sine 65. And so then, what's the height that Superman's off the ground? 46.7 feet. So x is 46.7 feet. Because there's an equal here. So this is like over 1, and I have to cross multiply. Okay? Alright, pause. Okay, so number 2. Let's just read it first, and then I'll tell you how to set up and draw your problem. Once you draw your problem, it's not too bad. But it says a boat is sailing due east parallel to the shoreline at a speed of 15 miles per hour. At a given time, the bearing to a lighthouse is south 54 degrees east, and 2 hours later the bearing is south 36 degrees east. So find the distance from boat position 2 to the lighthouse. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and draw this on my paper. Anytime they give me like south, west, blah, 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 whatever, I'm going to draw this little north, south, west, east thing, okay? To just help me see where I'm going and what I need to draw where. Alright, so this is what they give me. It says a boat is sailing due east. That means if here's boat position 1, I'm sailing this way. Okay, I'm going to boat position 2 at 15 miles per hour. So at a given time, the bearing to a lighthouse is south 54 degrees east, okay? So in my position 1, I'm going to draw my little north, south, east, west thing right here, okay? And when you read this, the first direction that they give you is the line that you're going to start on, okay? So south is the first direction they give me, so I'm going to start at south and go 54 degrees to the east line, okay? So I'm going to go 54 degrees east, and then that is my bearing to the lighthouse. So this angle right here is 54 degrees, okay? You start on the first direction and go towards the second direction that many degrees. That's exactly what that means. Okay? Yes? Can you just what? Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to do what Jordan said, and because that 54 is not in my triangle, I'm going to subtract 54 from 90 to make this 36. So I know this is 36 degrees. Does that make sense so far? Alright, now 2 hours later the bearing is, so in 2 hours I'm at boat position 2. So I'm going to draw my little north, south, west, east thing here. And so I'm going to start on the south line. So south 36 degrees east means that this little angle right here, I'm going east, is 36 degrees. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, well, we're going to see. Now, the next thing that you need to look at is it tells you how long the boat has been sailing, and it tells you how fast the boat has been going. So if I started at position 1 and go to position 2, and I'm going 15 miles an hour, then 2 hours, what distance have I gone? 30. So that's 30. Does that make sense? And then I'm looking for the distance from boat position 2 to the lighthouse. So I'm looking for this distance right there. Okay? Yes? Alright. Now, am I given a pair of anything?
Yeah. How do you figure out bonuses?
Can't you just add 90 and 36? Yes, that's what I'm going to do right here. So what would this total angle be? 126. So what Alex said was I'm going to take 90 degrees and add it to 36 because this is a 90-degree angle. And so that whole angle right here is going to give me 126. And so then, since I've got 2 other angles, I can go find that third angle by just subtracting from 180. So that's going to end up giving me, will it be 28 or 18? 18. Good. Alright, so we've got all of the angles there, yes. Alright, so now, I've got all three angles. Do I have a pair in any of that? Yes, I have this 30 that goes with 18. So I'm going to set this up, 30 over the sine of 18. And now, usually word problems are going to be a little easier because you don't have to solve the whole triangle. What's the only distance I'm looking for? X. And so I'm going to set this equal to X over what? What goes with that side? 36. So over sine 36. And then cross multiply. So this is going to be 30 sine 36 equals X sine 18. And I'm just going to type that in and find that side. So 30 sine 36 divided by sine 18. And so that distance that it is from the lighthouse is what? 57.1 miles. So this is 57.1 miles. And you need to make sure you put your units on there because they will count off on the test if you don't, if this is open-ended. Which I think you're not going to have open-ended test questions, but we'll see. Maybe.
Hey, what? Is there going to be a question as hard to set up
On the test? Okay. So it says, two planes leave an airport at the same time. One plane is flying 400 miles per hour at a bearing of north 36 degrees east. You don't need to try to figure out whether that's airplane 1 or airplane 2, okay? All you need to do is draw your bearing, and that'll point you to the plane that is, okay? Does that make sense? So they are leaving the airport. Here's the airport. They're leaving the airport at this bearing, okay? So from the airport, I'm going to go north 36 degrees east. So east is this away. So 36 degrees east would be airplane 1, and that would mean this is 36 degrees. Does that make sense? Alright, I'm going to go ahead and find how far it's gone because this plane flies 400 miles per hour after 1.5 hours, so I'm going to multiply these two numbers, and that's going to give me 600. Is everybody okay with that? Yes? Alright. For airplane 2, it says the other plane is flying at 600 miles per hour at a bearing of north 46 degrees west. So north 46 degrees west is going to be airplane 2, and that means this angle right here is 46 degrees. So that means the total, I can just add them and get this whole angle is 82 degrees. Yes?
Yeah.
Alright, so then I'm going to go ahead and say 600 times 1.5 is just going to give me, they've gone 900 miles. And I'm looking for how far apart the planes are after 1.5 hours. So this is what I'm looking for, okay? Now, this is a problem where I have no way of finding what these other two angles are. So I don't have a pair of information that's given. So what does that tell you you need to use? You need to use law of cosines, okay? And law of cosines, with any of those three formulas, basically all it is the side that you're trying to find, which is x, you square it. Then you take and you square the other two sides and add them together. So I'm going to take 600 squared plus 900 squared. And then it's always minus 2 times the 600 and the 900. Okay, so 2 times 600 times 900. And then cosine of, if I'm finding x, that always goes with this angle. So cosine of 82, and if you wanted to go label this ABC, you could, okay? And you get the same formula, or the same numbers that I come up with right there, okay? Does that make sense? Alright, now, I'm just going to plug this in the calculator. So I'm going to do 600 squared plus 900 squared minus 2 times 600 times 900 times the cosine of 82, and that's going to give me this big number. And then how do I solve that? Square root. I need to get rid of that squared. So I'm going to take the square root. So square root second answer. And that's going to give me 1,009.8 miles. So this is 1,009.8 miles. Questions? Great. We finished with 30 seconds.